After months of pushing for an end to the war in Ukraine, President Trump is set to meet Russia's Vladimir Putin. With Moscow pushing ahead on the battlefield, the talks come at a critical moment.
Both sides have very different goals in the end, and very different intentions as well.
In his bid to bring an end to the war, Trump's frustrations with Russia have been growing.
We just don't see any progress being made.
But despite threatening more severe sanctions if a ceasefire wasn't reached, Trump instead announced he would meet Putin in person. The meeting will happen here in Alaska, an area that was once Russian territory.
It was bought from the Russians in the 19th century. And so there has always been a certain sense in Russia, among the Russians, that this was once Russian territory. So for them, there's a certain gravity to the location.
Trump has said he views the meeting as a chance to feel out Putin's position.
Probably in the first 2 minutes, I'll know exactly whether or not a deal can be made.
How will you know that?
Because that's what I do. I make deals.
President Trump said he will not negotiate territorial issues, adding that he will use the meeting as a way to push Putin to agree to a ceasefire.
Will Russia face any consequences if Vladimir Putin does not agree to stop the war after your meeting on Friday?
Yes, they will.
But Russia has reiterated that its conditions for ending the war remain unchanged.
That is to basically take over Ukraine, install a puppet government in Kyiv, and make sure that it's a friendly country on Russia's western border.
European leaders had raised concerns about Trump's decision to meet Putin on American soil. But in a virtual summit on Wednesday, they agreed with President Trump on red lines for Friday's talks.
There's a lot of mistrust towards Putin among the European leaders. And I think for that reason, there's a lot of worry among them that Trump could be led astray by Putin, that he could be played by the Kremlin leader. So they're very concerned that whatever's agreed in Anchorage also meets their demands and their needs as well for security in the future. How can the European leaders be sure that this isn't just a tactical pause and that any suspension in fighting isn't going to just be an opportunity for Russia to rearm itself and attack again in the future?
Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky is not expected to attend Friday's meeting.
I would say he could go, but he's gone to a lot of meetings. You know, he's been there for 3.5 years, nothing happened.
I think it will be very difficult for any real substantive agreement about Ukraine to happen without Ukraine being at the table. They are the ones, after all, on the other side of the front line. And they can decide to continue fighting if they want to.
However, Trump hopes to follow up Friday's summit with a trilateral meeting between the warring leaders.
Putin has said that he's, in theory, okay with this, but he said that there's certain conditions that need to be met that have not been met for that to happen. And by that, he means elections. He wants to see Zelensky face the Ukrainian population again in elections.
The Trump-Putin meeting comes as Moscow's forces are having some success on the battlefield.
They've been pushing very hard to make gains in the last couple of weeks or so, and they've actually made some territorial gains in places where they've had difficulties in the past. And so they intend to continue fighting. They're pushing forward.
The talks also offer additional gains for Russia.
One of the most important things that this does for Russia and Putin right now is that it prolongs peace talks. It basically extends the amount of time during which Russia can show that it's being a good partner in peace talks and that it wants to move forward towards peace without getting sanctioned. Trump has threatened sanctions more and more in the past as he's become visibly frustrated with Russia. So this is a way of dodging that frustration and potential sanctions as well.
While both Trump and Putin stand to gain from this meeting, what success looks like for each side is starkly different.
I think the best case scenario for Trump is ultimately showing the United States and the rest of the world that he was able to clinch a very hard to attain peace between Russia and Ukraine. I think expectations for that are generally low, and I think he's telegraphed that his own expectations for that may be low, but I think that's obviously the golden ring for him. When it comes to Russia, they want to see relations normalized as much as they can be between the US and Russia. They want to see international recognition for the gains that they've made on the battlefield and continue to make on the battlefield.